And Max, as you know, every week we do college football picks with a special guest.
Mm-hmm.
We've had actual college football experts like
Yes.
Bill Connolly from SB Nation.
Mm-hmm.
We've had internet sorcerers
Yes.
like Lana
Lana.
Berry last week. I know we've got a couple more on deck, but this week, Max, very excited to welcome in noted author and man about town, Jeff Pearlman. Hey, Jeff.
And college football expert.
And college football
expert,
self-proclaimed
absolutely. Yes.
college football expert. In fact, this is 100% true. I've got to be more clear when I ask people to do this,
Right.
that college football acumen is not a requirement.
They're all extremely concerned when you
Yeah.
call. Yeah.
Let me just ask you a question.
Okay.
You can tell me yes or no. Does Major Applewhite play for the Longhorns?
Not anymore.
Currently, boy, I gotta run through the roster. I'm not certain.
Major Applewhite.
Who's going to win the quarterback battle between him and Chris Sims?
Yes.
Still hung up on that.
Trust me, there are a lot of people in this state who are still hung up on
Yeah,
that.
that's probably
Oh,
true.
Jeff Pearlman, of course, is the author of many, many books, including Sweetness. I think I've read 4 of your 5 books.
Yes.
I believe I've read Sweetness. I read, of course, Game of Shadows and all the others, but or Love Me, Hate Me, rather. But this is it's a real treat for me because I love talking to writers.
Ones that are actually talented as opposed to us.
Yes, as opposed to us. And I know that following you on Twitter, I know you have been working for 9 years on this USFL book. How's it coming?
130 years. 130 years.
How's it coming?
Man, I'm supposed to interview Bobby Hebert today.
Mhm.
So
Wow.
there you go. It's awesome. I feel like most people don't even remember the USFL, but it's 3-year league in the early 80s that really challenged the NFL. And a lot of Donald Trump, just pure coincidence, because he was the owner of the New Jersey Generals. It's a real labor of love. I mean, it's not a great answer, but it's my favorite book I've worked on.
And that's certainly saying something because every book you've written has been very compelling.
Yes.
For different reasons. I loved the Boys Will Be Boys is obviously big around here.
Legendary here.
The Dallas Cowboys book. Is there one in your past? I'm sure that the USFL book will be your favorite, but is there one in your past that you look at and you say I'm particularly proud of that one?
Yeah, I would say Sweetness, the Walter Payton biography. I mean, it just took me the longest, interviewed the most people, really developed like a love and an affection for who Walter Payton was and what he stood for. So that book, it took forever. It was really hard and really daunting. So kind of when I look back, I'd say that's my book of choice.
And at jeffpearlman.com, you as Max has mentioned,
the
Quaz, you're kind of, it's not weekly. And it's not.
It is weekly.
It is
No,
weekly.
it is weekly.
Okay,
It is weekly.
I know that at one point it was just kind of whenever you got around to it. I'm glad that we've now established a schedule. And you do the most interesting interviews with
internet.
the most interesting people. Are there any interviews in the Quaz on jeffpearlman.com that have stood out to you?
I would say the hooker.
Yeah,
Definitely the hooker.
That was a good one.
I would say, yeah, she was really interesting. Finding a hooker to do a Quaz was not as easy as you would think. Then I would say the American Nazi Party leader was interesting.
Man.
I'm like a Jew from New York, so that was really funky.
For sure.
I mean, but that's the whole thing about it. I'm like, we live in this age where everyone is so like, I feel this way, and I feel this way. And I can't remember a time in my life where people are less flexible and less willing to hear how other people think.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of part of the whole Twitter thing. We're so immediately dismissive of the opinions of others. So I really see the Quaz more than anything as an opportunity to say, all right, I'm a liberal guy from New York. You're a super arch conservative guy. Let me ask you 10 questions about it with no pretense, no judging, no anything, just a chance to hear sort of who you are and how you feel. So it's like this golden opportunity to just talk to people about their lives from all walks of life. So it's been really fun, actually.
Is there anybody in particular that you've tried really hard to get on that just has said no, and that you've pushed and pushed and pushed and just maybe the conversation, because I get a lot of I send a lot of emails that just don't get replied. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about people who have legitimately turned it down that you go, oh man, I wish I could have had them.
Yeah, I've had 2 that really get me. One is the rapper Young MC.
Oh my gosh,
Blue.
yes.
to me, he's quintessential Quaz. Because the Quaz is really quirky, funky, like kind of. It actually originally stood for, the word was quasi-famous, which I don't really use anymore because it's kind of mean, and I didn't mean it that way. But he is quasi. Young MC is like the quintessential kind of Quaz.
Yeah.
He said he would do it. I sent him the questions. He never did it. I hit him up again, and he ignored me. And the other is a singer more from the 90s, early 2000s named Michelle Branch. Who,
Yes.
Okay.
I used to really like. And I still think she's a great voice and blah, blah, blah. I just thought, this should be a great Quaz. She's really interesting and blah, blah, blah. Nothing. Won't do it.
See, and I think you can't call it. I mean, you're right. You have to shorten it now because you've had too many actually famous people on there.
Right.
Yeah,
that's,
I know.
That's the problem. You gotta.
So I never admit what it stands for. I rarely, because I don't want to insult people like that.
My question about the Quaz, as someone who has interviewed thousands upon thousands of people, how has it altered your view of humanity after such a random collection of interviews?
It's actually, to me, it's really refreshing because I really feel this way. Like when you write books, you sit and you're in front of a computer a lot. So Twitter has become like something that I'm always tweeting and looking, and it's so surface. It's so surface because you're just getting 140 characters and that's it. And it's how someone feels at that moment. I hate Donald Trump. I love Donald Trump. Blah, blah. You're a jerk. You're an idiot. Blah, blah. And it's just a really refreshing opportunity to have a conversation with someone, and you realize people are not the sum of 140 characters.
Right.
You can be a diehard liberal or a diehard conservative or a Texas fan or an Oklahoma fan or whatever, and that's not who you are. It's just a teeny tiny piece of you. So for me, it's just a good reminder. It's as corny as that sounds.
He's Jeff Pearlman, noted author. Follow him on Twitter at Jeff Pearlman. And now, Max, we have to get to the most important thing.
Oh, yeah, the important part.
Yes,
Sorry,
the whole
forgot
reason
about
he's
that.
here.
Yeah.
We do have to mention that the top score so far belongs to Bill Connolly of SB Nation.
As it should.
3 out of 5. Lana Berry, our guest last week, came up a little bit short. She goes 1 out of 5. That pick of SMU over Baylor was certainly a little bold last week. But
I think it was a principled one.
Yeah. But we will I'm confident in Jeff Pearlman here in the picks. Now, we do have to start with a bonus pick. This is by request.
Yes.
This is by request as the Delaware Blue Hens travel to take on the Wake Forest Demon Deacons. Jeff, you are an unabashed, I would say just really remorseless supporter of the Delaware Blue Hens. So who are you taking in their big game against Wake Forest?
I'm going Blue Hens 107, Wake Forest -3.
Okay, interesting. All right, that would cover. That would cover. That would beat
cover.
the spread.
Yeah.
So Delaware, he is on record for
Wake
for
Forest
Delaware.
is bad enough that is actually not.
That is honestly
outside the realm of possibility.
All right, we are going to start 11 a.m. Saturday at Amon G. Carter Stadium in Fort Worth. TCU, coming off a loss over Arkansas, welcomes in Max's Iowa State Cyclones. Will you go with the Texas team, or will you make our producer happy?
No,
I just want to say, according to the internet, the World Wide Web, Iowa State quarterback Joel Lanning is quite the player.
Oh my gosh!
Not good enough.
Oh my God, he did research.
However,
exactly.
TCU
Whatever it is.
You're the first person to actually do research for this segment. So congratulations.
That's how I do.
You've made progress. Louisiana Tech visits Texas Tech 6 o'clock Saturday night in Lubbock.
Well, look, Texas Tech has cool helmets, so I'm going with Texas Tech.
That's true. That's a fair point.
Look, you can't argue with that kind of
Flawless
analysis.
logic.
You cannot argue with that kind of analysis.
Wait, can I say something real quick?
By all means.
Sure.
There used to be a show, I don't know if you guys remember this, called What's Happening. Do you guys remember What's Happening?
I was born in 1986.
Damn you. All right, there's a show. It was in the early 80s called What's Happening. And there was this character named Dwayne. And it was basically about 3 kids growing up and whatever, blah, blah, blah. And
I'm vaguely familiar with the idea of What's Happening.
It was really good. And there was this kid, and there was this one episode, he was masterful at picking NFL games. And he kept getting them right and kept getting them right. And then the older brother of one of the guys is like, okay, I need to win this bet this week. I'm going with you. And it was like 1977, and Tampa Bay was visiting Oakland. And at the time, Tampa Bay had yet to win a game. And he goes, it's Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay's going to win this game. The guy's like, are you sure? He's like, yes, I'm sure. So they're why you fast forward, they're watching the game. The Raiders are winning like 42-0. And the guy goes, it's like the last 3 minutes of the episode. And the guy goes, how exactly do you pick these games? And he goes, okay, well, I take into account blah, 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 blah. And then I just think to myself, who has a cooler helmet?
I love that. And honestly, with the high school football that we cover here, you would be surprised how often that's the tiebreaker.
Yeah.
It really is. So I can relate to Dwayne. Let's go down to Houston tonight. Baylor travels to take on the Rice Owls. Hoot hoot! It is Owls and Bears. Who do you like, Jeff Pearlman?
I think the Bears will dominate Rice.
That is not a bad pick, honestly.
Yeah, that's probably right.
All right, and now the two.
I mean, I just want to say, you have to remember in their last meeting, Baylor beat Rice 70-17.
Oh, here we go.
Oh my God! Yeah,
Wow.
Look who has the World Wide Web. All right, Jeff Pearlman has paid his internet bill.
Yes.
All right, now the two tougher ones, I think. Texas A&M travels to take on Auburn in their SEC opener. Jeff Pearlman, A&M and Auburn.
You know, A&M comes in, they're 2-0, 17th in the nation.
God.
Auburn plays at Jordan Hare Stadium.
Well done.
I'm going to go with A&M on the road.
A&M, okay. A road dog. I like it.
Mm-hmm.
And finally, 9 o'clock Central out on the West Coast, the Texas Longhorns travel to Berkeley to take on the Cal Bears. Jeff Pearlman, your pick.
You know, I do know that Texas beat Notre Dame 2-0.
Wait. Did you actually know that?
Yeah, I did, I swear.
Okay.
All right.
Yep.
Okay.
And I'm going to go with the Longhorns.
Okay.
Right. See?
So,
I think these
and
are
you
all
know,
reasonable picks.
And here's the thing. This is
Yeah.
a smart man. Okay.
Uh-huh.
This guy, they look, they don't pay him the big bucks for nothing. Okay.
Right, obviously.
I also think Major Applewhite's going to lead that team to victory.
He's going to
He
all the way
goes-
from the OC booth in Houston.
He goes Delaware over Wake Forest. Understandable.
Sure.
TCU over Iowa State.
Mhm.
Texas Tech over Louisiana Tech.
Right.
Baylor over Rice. A&M over Auburn. Texas over Cal. You know what he did? All Texas teams.
Smart
That's
move.
a smart
on
man.
this show that is playing to the crowd.
That is, those are the smart picks of Jeff Pearlman. Follow him on Twitter at Jeff Pearlman, and be sure to visit jeffpearlman.com to buy all of his books. They are all worth it.
And read all the quases.
Yes, I do have to go read The Rocket That Fell to Earth. I realize that's the one I haven't read.
There you
so
go.
I gotta
That's
go.
okay.
I will
It's my
go.
worst one, so it's okay.
Okay, there you go. But still buy it, people. Jeff Pearlman, everybody. Thanks very much, Jeff. Appreciate your time.
All right, thanks a lot.